H-Town, stand up, baby. It's your boy Blastoff, returning yet again, live in effect, man. Uh, got a lot of good things to get into. Season 2 then kicked off, and a lot of things didn't happen since the last time we spoke, man. Training camp done passed by. Tomorrow's the last preseason game against the Detroit Lions, and a lot of things have transpired from between the point of, when we last spoke after, the Minnesota Vikings game, up until now with, the Panthers had came in town and they took a loss to us. They had the joint practice, and the Panthers had took a loss 3-20, man. The defense and the team in all phases just showed up, and it was a very, very good performance by our first team, and guys that are hoping to make the team. We got a bunch of standouts, man. We got some guarantees that we're going to make the squad, and we got people that are surprising, man, and coming in and putting in the work, and they looking good out here, dude. So just everybody, welcome back. Hope everybody's doing good, and feeling good and whatever. And we glad to continue this show, man. And it's gonna do nothing but grow. The Ryl Texans Talk. I thank you to all of the ones that tap in with your boy and that support. And go follow, man. Go follow on Twitter and X, X and Instagram at Blastoff, entertainment _entertainment. So, man, I got a couple of things that I want to kick it off with today. And one of them being, I want to go back to the preseason game with the Panthers. They came into town and had some practice, and joint practice, had a joint practice, and they were looking good. The Texans looked good out there. The competition was good. Texans made a bunch of plays. The Panthers made some plays, but overall, the reports, man, were just that the Texans were doing their thing out there, man. And I happened to be out there for that joint practice, and it was a great joint practice. And I can't lie, man. I'm excited about a lot of these new players. And I'm sure you guys have been hearing about Jalen Noel, in particular, if you follow the team, and you've been hearing about, Ariante Ursery. His name has been all over the social media, and he's been in the media. CJ's mentioned him in the media. And, man, losing Laramie Tunsil put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, that were, like, how could you do that? And your line was already Swiss cheese with him there. And then you get rid of him. And, I consider that cutting out a cancer. And I'm not saying Laramie was a bad cancer or anything like that, but as the leader of that offensive line, man, he, his attitude was seemingly infectious, and it rubbed off on the team, man, on the guys, man. And, for whatever reason, I don't know, but, for whatever reason, man, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, like I say, man, we're here now. The team is taking on an identity now. They're starting to, the reports are coming out that the team offensive line is starting to gel. Titus Howard, man, has been getting rave reviews. We just had a joint practice here. We play them tomorrow. Later on today, because this is 2:30 in the morning. This is real talk. Ryl Texans Talk. Hey, we roll all night, baby. But anyway, Titus Howard has reportedly shown what we've always known, is that he's a right tackle. That's what he was drafted for. And y'all remember, he was drafted by Brian Gaines, the GM that came in from Buffalo, I believe at the time. He was on the Buffalo's team, and we got him in, and he was the general manager after Rick Smith got fired. Short-lived, because Bill O'Brien, was cutting everybody that didn't, sniff his drawers. that didn't carry his jock strap. He was getting rid of them left and right. And but Brian Gaines got Titus Howard, and let's be honest, Titus is a right tackle, and he's always been a right tackle. But they tried to move him to right guard or whatever across the offensive line. But the thing with Titus was his health. It's always just been his health. It's always just been Titus's health, man. He could stay healthy for certain amounts of time, but I just remember a large amount of his time, especially when he was starting at right tackle, him just getting injured, dude. I think, if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me, but I think that Dwayne Brown was here that first year or so that Titus Howard came in. I could be wrong, but I didn't do the stats on that. But I think Dwayne Brown was still at left tackle when Titus Howard came in. But anyway, nevertheless, he's been looking good at right tackle. I think that's his fit. But we're going to keep our fingers crossed that the brother can stay healthy all aside. But what I will say is that on the left side, you got Ariante, and he's been looking good, man. Like, dude's been a surprise. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised at how good he has been and how well he's taken to the league and how smart this young man seems to be. And we're going to get into some clips and things of that nature. I got some footage of the guy, how he's been doing in practices and how he's been doing, in preseason games. And the guy's been consistent, man. And he wants to win. He wants to be the best at his position. And we're going to get into all of that. A lot of things to get into, man. We also got a lot of drama on the team, involving the team and players alike, and we'll get into that. But we're gonna start off with what happened at the Panthers game with the Texans beating them 20-3. Nick Chubb looked great out there, man, in that preseason game. And he was looking great at practice too. He went 5 for 25, averaged 5 yards in that first quarter. The first team played a few minutes out there, maybe 5, 10 minutes, 10 minutes or so. And just like in practice, Nick Chubb looked good, man. Derek Stingley looked good. He showed he's not to be played with. He continues to show that. He continues to show that he is that number one defensive back in the league. I know they want to go with Pat Surtain, but hey, man, this guy, Stingley, man, I think he's just he has an edge to me. I'm a Houston Texans fan, and I know what Sting can do, and he's been tested time and time again, and he's proven himself, and that's what separates the goods from the greats and the elites and whatnot. So another thing, I came out of the preseason game. I just remember watching that game and remembering, feeling like, hey, it's nothing to be worried about with CJ, man. CJ Stroud. We had the situation where people were saying, oh, his arm, his shoulder might be torn up, or he might need shoulder surgery, his bad shoulder, going in, the training camp when he wasn't initially out there, and it was Davis Mills and the backups, Mertz and Caden Slovic. But CJ didn't put to rest everything that I needed to see this past weekend when they took on the Panthers. They went out there and they dominated. That first drive, they were looking good, but CJ overthrew Nico on one deep ball on the third down that had him go, had him come off the field. And I know in my mind, I was like, well, I got to see them one more time. And they came out and they didn't disappoint. The defense, hey, it was a point with that first team defense, that first drive, I think everybody was like, oh, man, just take them boys off. They ready. They got sacked Bryce once, I believe, or twice maybe, but Bryce Young. But one thing that came out of that is that the Texans didn't allow a first down. For the Panthers for their first team, they didn't allow a first down. Them guys didn't get one first down. So I mean, the guys was looking good. They coaching up the running backs well. The blocking is looking good, and Jawar Jordan and Woody Marks are looking good, man. This is gonna be a tough team cut this year. I mean, probably tougher than anything that I can even remember in past history, with us being so stacked with depth. They have quality depth, and I know it's guys that are gonna have to end up being cut that they're gonna make a roster somewhere in the NFL, and they're gonna be a number they could start on some teams, or some teams need that, or they could start and be number twos on a lot of these teams. I don't know how they're gonna keep Jawar Jordan and Woody Marks, British Brooks. I don't know. They may go with the youth aspect of it and the speed and athleticism of these guys, but British Brooks, he stepped up. He's a special team ace. This guy's, what can you do with guys like that? Dare Ogunbowale, like, man, what are we gonna do with this running back room? It's deep, man. The team is deep. We got guys that are just making plays. The youth, they're coaching these rookies up. Jalen Smith had an interception out of Jalen Smith. I think he played at USC, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I just remember, him having an interception last game. Irv Smith, tight end we brought in, he looked great. In lieu of, Brevin Jordan being gone, Irv Smith stepped right in, had 5, catches for 46 yards. The brother looked great. He looked real good. And Arnett had an number 41 intercepted, in the fourth quarter. I mean, and set the Texans up at the goal line, But I mean, at the end of the day, man, things that are changing, that are different with this team is the amount of depth that we have now, and the guys, the coaching that these guys receive, the quality of players that we have. It's just feeling different. This team, I can't express enough how much depth we got, even with the O-line. With Cam Robinson being injured, Ariante Ursary got his chance, man. And he stepped in and it's questions like, do we even need Cam Robinson now? Do we even need Cam with Ariante stepping in and playing so well as a rookie on a rookie contract? And, Cam Robinson's getting $14 million. He just signed a $14 million contract. The thing I would say, though, I wouldn't even, be like, oh, we spending too much on the O-line. Man, insurance. I'm going to say that one more time. Insurance, man. With guys like Blake Fisher that can slide in for the right tackle if God forbid, Titus goes down, and you got Cam Robinson at left tackle. He'll be an expensive insurance policy, and Blake Fisher doesn't spark much, hope in anything outside of he did have a better game this past, weekend, but with Cam Robinson, man, and with the way that Titus plays, man, and he plays hard and he gets injured, man, it'll be the best thing to do to have, Cam Robinson there as an insurance policy, bro. This team is gonna run deep in the playoffs, and we're gonna need some fresh people. It's just like with the running backs. Joe Mixon, who knows what's going on with Joe? You know, we haven't seen Joe. We getting little tidbits here and there about his health. People speculate that he's won't play in the start the season, and some say that he does. You know what? Part of that problem was, how they were doing those hip tackles on the brother last year, man, and all that stemmed from that. In the league, who got punished from that? You know, they got video of him working out in June, looking good, and then there's reports of him was walking in the boot after that. I don't know, man. It's a confusing situation. Reminds me of the Christian Harris situation, the linebacker, where they kept him so under wraps and so tight-lipped about how Christian Harris was doing with his health and whatnot. And, man, similar seem they keep these injuries in-house. But, hey, no coach is perfect. If you want to keep, what's going on with the health of their team in a tight circle, hey, man, let them do it because, it's worse thing. What difference does it make? What time is it going to speed up the process or what if we know what's going on with the guys? Or just give us a peace of mind. So what? Let's be realistic here, man. We just need them out there on the field. When they're ready, they'll be ready. When we have our own timetables and the fans get to saying and bashing and cut him. Hey, nah. Speaking of that, hey man, Mechie's gone. Mechie's gone. He was traded to Philadelphia, man, for a tight end and a 5th round pick in 2026. Next year we get a 5th rounder back, I believe. We had traded it initially in the Kenyon Green trade to Philadelphia, I believe. When we traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, we ended up trading him Kenyon Green, and we gave him a 5th rounder. But we ended up getting that back. We traded Mechie to them, and we ended up getting that 5th rounder back. And Mechie's gone to Philadelphia to be reunited with Jalen Hurts and and Devontae Smith. One thing that I would say about Mitch, man, he was very athletic and it just was a tough break for his first year. He'd come down with leukemia here. But once he got healthy, it took a while for him to get back too. And I think this year was really his first true. And it sucks to say, but I think that this was his first true year of him really getting back to it. But saw some things that, in the preseason, that probably when I had a moment in the preseason game. I think it was David Mills who threw Mitch the ball. He threw him a hot one. And I think it was towards the end of the second, or it was the third, or whatever. And I want to say it was Davis Mills because it was towards the end of the second, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was the beginning of the third. But anyway, the ball hit Mitch in the hands. Right, he was open, sitting in the zone. It was a tight play, but the ball hit him and it popped out. And you know what? That just said to me, like, that's Mitch. That's Mitch. He can get open in there, but he's not Mr. Reliable with those hands. And I think that last little thing, I'm telling you, he made a play or two after that, but I'm willing to bet that play in itself was what broke the straw that broke the camel's back, that had the coaches like, you know what, let's get this guy some trade value for this guy. Let's see what we can get back for him. Man, Mitch will forever be loved out here. Mitch will forever be a fan favorite. We just never got to see his full potential, but I hope that Nick Sirianni and Co can bring the best out of that young man. He had a nice play in the preseason here for the Philadelphia Eagles today, or yesterday. I'm sorry, and as long as he can they can get that out of him. Hey, you get Alabama Mitch. Hey, those guys are gonna be even better than they were with that quality of a player that he had the potential to be, but just could never reach it. And unfortunately, again, we understand that the dude had leukemia, but 3 to 4 years removed from that, or whatever, 2 to 3, whatever, however long it was, he had just never got back to himself that we saw what he was drafted in the second round, I believe, for. And then because immediately after that, Jalen Noel was followed right immediately after that from a similar pass, and he caught it. And I just got to thinking, like, man, how could we, cut a Justin Watson, that's somebody that's experienced, that's been on a Super Bowl winning team and has won. How could we cut a guy like that when, hey, it's business. It's business. I know he was beloved in the locker room, but it was business. It seems like, with the right coaching, Mitch will be all right, man. Shout out to Mitch, man. Good luck to you, bro. We rooting for you. We'll be keeping an eye on you, man. But let's get into some things that has been going on, man, around the team. Following that preseason game. As we know, the Astros are locked in a type, positioning play for the playoffs and whatnot. And they currently lead, in the AL West or whatever. But it was a big mess because CJ came out one day I guess he arrived to the Panthers game wearing a Mariners hat, Seattle Mariners hat. And they're right there a half a game or a game behind us. I'm in the race. So, there was a big old hoopla about that. And guys, come on, let's just relax. That guy's a California native. We're making things out of nothing. That guy's a California native. Of course, he's gonna like who he likes. Do y'all feel like just because we got the Astros and whatever, and do you feel like your team? This is an honest question from me to you. Do you feel like you have to be ride or die for your team all the way to city? Like, okay, I'm the quarterback of the Houston Texans, but do you feel like we have to be like all phases, like, hey, you gotta like the Rockets. You have to be there. You can't be wearing any other team's gear that's the LA Clippers or whatever. Or do you feel like we have to ride or die? The players and things have to be die hard for the city all the way through? Or, get in here, have love for the city, have love for what they have love for. Are they not allowed to express themselves? Because most of these people, be honest, come from different parts of the United States, different parts of the world. And they have their own teams that they grew up with loving and whatnot. So I just think that would, I think that was petty. But again, who am I to say to make you feel? It's just the principle of like, hey, how do you feel about, I just want to know you guys' thoughts on what do you think about the stars here. Do they have to support every aspect of the city, or can we get away with some things? Now, can we get away with some things? We got a clip here of your boy coming in rivaled with that Seattle Mariners hat on. Let's see if I can pull it up for you guys. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. He coming in. They feel some kind of way about that, man. I don't know what's wrong with everybody. We got to learn how to relax, and that just goes in hand with the fact that CJ Kane. They were tripping about the fact that he got emotional when Brevin got hurt. We got a lot to say, man. Come on, man. We got to lighten up, dude. We winners here. We gotta lighten up, guys. We can't be tripping on every little thing, dude. We gotta be able to relax. But you know what? That's not the only thing that people have been saying. We also had to deal with your boy. Man, Jimmy Ward, man. What's going on with Jimmy, man? I heard they calling the dude Jimmy Rocks now. They calling dude Jimmy Rocks. I don't understand how he caught up in what he's caught up in. They're saying that, Jimbo had, hey, man, the brother had got popped. He'd been arrested twice in the last few months here behind his child's mother. And, man, I hate to hear that because regardless, we're not, you're innocent until proven guilty. We get that. But man, to be putting yourself in those type of situations, man, let's say that it was false, then you knew that this lady was a troublemaker before you even start going around, even if it is false. Like, so I would have tried to stay away from that. We be having too much on the line, too much positive things, good energy, good vibes. And not only that, they saying Jimmy on meth, crystal meth. They calling him Jimmy Rocks. Jimmy Pop Rocks. You know what I'm saying? They calling him Jimmy Pop Rocks, man. We're going to have to pray for Jimmy, man. Jimmy going to have to tighten up, bro, because, man, I don't know, man. They saying that Jimmy was on the Pop Rocks and whatnot. Man, let's check this clip out, man. I'm going to let it speak for itself and let you guys, feel for yourself what if you feel like this is true, what, man? I mean, and what do you think? Do you think Jimmy should be kicked off the team behind this kind of stuff? Let's go ahead. Let's go with it. Let's see if you feel like Jimmy should be kicked off the team behind this. Let's check it out.
A $20 million lawsuit accuses him of sexually assaulting a woman while their 3-year-old son was inside her home. ABC 13's Mo Hyder live at Houston and has a breakdown of these allegations. Mo.
Yeah, Rick, as you mentioned, he's seeking about $20 million in damage. Ward is also facing 5 different charges for what the woman says is the physical and mental pain he's accused of causing her.
Instead of finding the football on defense, Texans safety Jimmy Ward now finds himself at the center of a civil lawsuit after being arrested twice in 2 months. According to this lawsuit filed in Harris County, Ward is being accused of both physically and sexually assaulting a woman named Christy West multiple times this year. It says West and the Texans defensive back were together for years and share a 3-year-old son. Court records show Ward was arrested on June 12th for a domestic assault charge. While investigators didn't provide specific details at the time, according to this lawsuit, it says he barged into West's home in Montgomery County and his behavior was described as erratic and aggressive. The lawsuit states, quote, on that night, she suspected he was under the influence of methamphetamines, specifically crystal meth. The same day, the lawsuit says Ward slapped and choked West, all while their son was asleep. West claims in the lawsuit that Ward threatened to kill her and force her to perform a sex act. In the lawsuit, she claims a drug-fueled outburst came after. It says, quote, Ward jumped out of bed and began searching for her phone, accusing her of talking to other men. West says she was able to grab their son and ran outside naked and injured and called 911. Ward was eventually arrested and landed behind bars again earlier this month after being accused of drinking and contacting her, which investigators say violated his bond agreements.
You know what, man? With these kind of situations, man, I gotta get into it and say that these guys, man, you got so much power, and it's similar with the Deshaun Watson situation. Now I hope that this crystal meth thing, man, because that's next level. Who in the fan base would ever thought Jimmy out here hitting the pop rocks, man? Jimmy Kane. Who would have guessed that about Jimmy, man? Come on, bro. Like, seriously, bro. Like, how you be having a world? They be having a world in their hands, man, and just crash and burn, man. And nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. But it sounded to me like, you know, and it sounded like he's getting sued for 20 mil. It's a civil suit, and he reached out to her after the like, dude, you ain't learned from Shannon Sharp. I know it's your baby mom. But women are opportunists, bro. And whether it's true or not, this crystal meth thing, bro, you got to beat these crystal meth allegations, bro, or you'll never play for the. I don't see him playing for the Houston. I know Miko has come out saying that they want to let the, and you know what? I really appreciate, you know, how, you know, let's give them a round of applause, actually, because the Texans have changed their stance on, because, hey, you sneezed the wrong direction back in the day, you were cut. So let's give them a round of applause on how they, you know, handling this thing, you know, giving the brother a fair shake and giving him time. But when it comes to, bro, they saying you had crystal meth, bro. What's going on, bro? They saying you had the crystal meth. Man, do you know what crystal meth would do to you? Oh my God. I don't understand it, man, but, you know, I'm praying for Jimmy, bro, because I like Jimmy Ward, man. Jimmy is a fan favorite. He just played so hard that he couldn't stay healthy on the field. He played like a crash out. Man, don't let me find out Jimmy was out there on that field on crystal meth. No wonder he was hitting so hard. Torpedo, man, on that, he wasn't feeling a thing. My goodness gracious, man. You know, what I want to know what y'all think, man. Y'all think, you know, Jimmy got a chance to, man, I pray clear his name. Just like with, you know, we got some crazy news with CJ Gardner talking about his leg was all tore up or something in practice, and by the grace of the good Lord, the man is okay. The man is okay. You know, and with that being said, you know, I just we thankful for you, Jimmy, for everything you've done for us. You know, the little bit you did play, and you know, the big brother leadership you did provide for the team and whatnot. But, you know, man, I don't know what to do with this whole thing about the crystal meth, bro. You know, that's a hard drug. You know, they could have said marijuana. They could have said ecstasy. You know, something. But they said crystal meth. Yeah, man. My God. Is it that bad? What, hey, oh, I don't know, man. But anyway, I want to get back onto our boy Ursery, man. A great young man. And let's get on Ursery, man. You know, he was asked today about his advice, about him getting advice from Titus Howard and one thing I'm gonna say that I want to touch on about the O-line was about let's say about last year, Laramie Tunsil. The vibes in the room wasn't that Laramie Tunsil was a leader in that nature. You know, he wasn't demanding, you know, the best out of his team. He was courting, you know, he always was his fashion and his money, and he's paid to do a job. But Laramie wasn't practicing. Laramie wasn't at practices. He would have training camps and things like that. Laramie, I don't even remember, to be honest with you guys, but a few times being at training camp last year. And if you guys out there, maybe you can say the same things. But I honestly don't remember Laramie. If you got a signed shirt or something from Laramie, you know, tap in and leave a comment. But I just don't remember Laramie being out there like that, dude. He was in business and he gone by his way. He getting that check, he gone. But they wanted more than that. They wanted, yeah, you were dang gone good at your job, one of the best. But your false start penalties was just inexcusable. Your false start penalties was inexcusable, man. You was making too much money, and you were a leader. You were placed to be the leader. So Titus Howard, has been tagged with the role of being the vet, which he was the vet regardless. He's still been a vet. But tagged, I think he even came in before Laramie Tunsil for sure. But he was tasked with the role of taking these O linemen and being a leader for these guys. And according to let's say Ariante, he's been doing what he's supposed to do. He's been coaching the guys up and whatnot of these things of that nature, and especially Ariante. And he was asked earlier today about the advice and the knowledge that Titus is sharing with him, and we're gonna get into this young man. This guy's is a great young man. I want to go ahead and tap into some of this footage in case for you guys that don't really know about Titus, man. About Ariante Ursery, man. What is this young youthful guy, rookie, bringing to this team? We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that right now. I want to go ahead and share a clip with you guys. He was asked earlier about that, and I'm gonna show some clips with you guys to highlight what this guy has been doing and what's been raved about this guy, and what he's been doing in camp. So let me see if I can get us here. Get us some sound here.
How has Titus Howard been as far as being that veteran for you?
He's another voice on the O line, a guy who's been here for a long time. Who just knows the ins and outs of playing O line, playing guard, playing tackle, being versatile, and he knows that when you switch positions, you got to kind of switch everything over in your mind, your footwork, and everything. So he's just been kind of being a big brother and helping me out in that aspect. And I'm just soaking it all in. I couldn't ask for a better vet.
Shout out to Big Sarge Media, man. I spoke on him last week. That guy was the one that was calling out, the ones that were saying CJ was crying or whatever, boo-hooing or whatever. Shout out to Big Sarge Media, man. It's one of my go-to guys. I respect that guy. And I get a lot of information from that guy. But shout out to him. He's the one that asked the question. He's one of those well-versed, he's in the circle and he's, he knows what's going on with your team. So follow him on X and Twitter, and TikTok and all of that. But Ursery, man, it was one thing that he said that I really liked about details. When you switch positions, because Titus has played all along this offensive line, and Ursery was saying that with Titus, he was saying that Titus has told him, hey, you got to watch your footwork and handwork and stuff when you switch positions along that line. He gave him gym. It's not going to be the same footwork or foot positioning or whatever, hand fighting and whatever, leveraging when you playing right guard as opposed to playing left tackle. And Titus has played up and down this line. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter coaching this guy, and you're getting coached by the best. And speaking of Will Anderson, the reviews have been rave coming about what Will Anderson has been doing. Will Anderson is trying to break J.J. Watt's records, bro. From what we've been hearing reports, the Lions couldn't in joint practice. The Lions could not stop Will Anderson Jr. They had to finally put double teams on Will Anderson Jr. Jr. is focused, locked in, and we picked up a beast of a man. And I thank the good Lord for this team is taking shape with a bunch of just dominant. You got to think about this, guys. Let me tell you something. And we're going to get back on the Ursery. But I want to say something. You got dominance in all of the rooms of the team now. People that can say him on the offensive line, him on the receiver rooms, him in the running back rooms, him in the defensive back rooms, him in the linebacker rooms, him in the special team rooms, him in the head coaching, him in the bruh. All across the board, Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans is installing talent in each and dominant talent in each room, positioning room, skill room. Just think about it. And it's rubbing off. It's rubbing off. You're getting your dominance in each, and you got, and the thing about it is, the guys that are under the top dog. Let's go for instance. Let's just be realistic. We have Derek Stingley, one of the best, if not the best, cornerbacks in the league right now. I'm gonna give him the best. I gotta give it to him. But under him came in, and right under him, the thing is, they're close in age too. So that talent level, it develops competition. There ain't so much as, you know what this will bring? This type of thing brings? Okay, let's think about Kamari Lassiter. Kamari Lassiter feels like he was that dog at Georgia behind Kool-Aid McKinstry. They weren't even behind him. There was 1A and 1B, and he, I think Kamari played the weak side of the D, whatever. Kamari was the starter, man. He came in here, he sees Stingley, and maybe Kamari was like, I can do that or better. And he put himself up to the challenge, and he's doing it. And the team celebrates. Nobody's trying to be hating or jealous. They're all sharing. They're not the young boys, young men. You know what I mean? And then you got guys like, Nico Collins, who was trained under the great Andre Johnson tutelage from knowledge and whatever to be great. Now, all Nico has to do is take Jaden Higgins under his wing and do the same thing. Share your knowledge. Share your little tips, your little tricks, your little wins at the line of scrimmage, your movement. Share that so we can be the best that we can be. And that's selflessness, brotherhood is what's going to get us over the top. They saying now that Will Anderson had a quote, and I have to find the quote. Maybe somebody else can, link us to it in the chat, in the comments. Will Anderson said that after the I think it was a Pro Bowl or something or whatever, the guys was coming up to him and was like, "Hey, man, what's up with the Texans? I want to play for the Texans." Like, bro, who was saying that at first? They used to try to get mad at us. And whatever. Y'all remember that year we beat the Bengals, and we was always thrashing them. And I think that was that year when TJ Yates, I think he was still, who was our quarterback? Was it Yates? Played with DeAndre Hopkins threw that back shoulder fade, DeAndre Carter, whatever the case is. No. Yeah, maybe so, but. And I'm not so remembering, but those guys was all like, "Oh, we got beat by the worst team in the league." Joking, man, bro, we wasn't the worst team in the league, but somebody on that Bengals line, y'all were one of the worst. Said something about that, and that's that day, that's that game, I believe, that J.J. Watt had that comment of, yeah, Dalton Schultz came in here talking about the red rifle, but we made him look like a BB gun. And we ended up losing, I think, that year to the Patriots again. But anyway, my point is that, with stuff like that, you got to think about how back then our teams were fringe teams. And if we're going to be honest with it, we weren't even deep fringe teams. We were just on the fringe. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. Because who was dominating in our running back rooms back then? Who we had? David Johnson, or those guys. Those guys weren't dominant. David Johnson was a respectable player. Let's make no mistake about it. Lamar Miller, respectable player. But were these guys the guys? The guy? Maybe in college. But have they ever came into the league and were the guy, undisputed? Or were they respectable guys? They were respectable. And David Johnson had that one dominant year or two dominant years or whatever. He was good with Arizona. But the point I'm making is, right now across the board, we just got talent across the board, man. And it you know, and in every room, every department, every section of this team, from the linebacker core, the defensive back core, the safety core, and that's why C.J. Gardner-Johnson is so important. You know, Jimmy Ward was so important because Jimmy was a winner in this league. Jimmy was a very well respected safety in this league. You know, I've been a fan, as many of us were, since day one. And I'm gonna be honest, I was a fan of Houston the year Andre Johnson got drafted, which was the very next year. I know we had a team and whatnot, but I was back then, you know, I was rocking with the Eagles and Donovan McNabb and whatnot back then, you know. Terrell Owens and you know, Thrash and all those guys that played on that line, on that receiver core and whatever. But basket. But the point I'm getting at is, you know, from my watching this team grow and the hardships and the ups and downs that we've all experienced as Houston Texans fans, man, this is just a different place for me. I don't know about you guys, but I feel it. All we need is for C.J. Stroud to lock in and do his job. And we need this offensive line to give him the time to be able to do his job. The things going on, Texas just had a joint practice with the Detroit Lions. Word coming out of camp that, you know, it was a back and forth, respectable practice. Nobody really won dominant. We know the Lions have turned into that team. Lions are a Super Bowl team, Super Bowl caliber team. I think I've been seeing around a lot that a lot of people want to see a Houston Texans versus Detroit Lions Super Bowl. And I'm gonna tell you something. It would be wonderful. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Houston, as a football team, really has a sleeping giant of fans under their fingertips. Houston is really a football city. Let Houston win a Super Bowl. Oh man, it's gonna be tears, streets, statues put up. Because Houston is really wanting that Super Bowl, but nobody's ever put us above that level here with these teams, from the Oilers to the earlier Texans to that. Like, we waiting on a Super Bowl. We're waiting on the Super Bowl. You got to think, it's just a lot of skepticism, and let's be real too. You know, it's for good reason in the past. But I'm from day one that they drafted that they brought in Nick Caserio. I'm gonna go again. I said this last year on the first season. People were wanting Nick Caserio after the Texans fell to the Chiefs when they dropped that second round game in was it in Kansas City, and we were up on them 24-3 or 24-0, and we dropped that ball, and the Texans were almost, caught up in some tampering charges because Jack Easterby was out there and trying to recruit Nick Caserio. Man, we all wanted him. And then the next year, whenever we finally get him, people, they still on those same page. And I'm sitting there like, no, I know that guy. I know football, man. I know that guy just comes off as a smart, he studied under the best, Bill Belichick, and that organization of a winning organization. And he was able to, put together his experience in his brain. And to be honest, he was the de facto GM. They called him the de facto GM because Bill Belichick was, the guy that got all the credit and whatnot. But supposedly, Nick Caserio was the guy that was keeping that train smooth rolling with the talent acquisition and the players, man. Yeah, it took him a while to hit on some offensive linemen here, but it seems like Ursery, he finally hit on him. I call the guy #calculated Caserio, man. Calculated Caserio. Calculated Caserio. Somebody posted up something saying that, and I took note of it, about how, Houston owns the 4 picks in the first 3 rounds next April. 4 picks in the first 3 rounds next April, including 1 first, 2 seconds, and 1 third rounder. And they, like I say, they reacquired their own 5th round pick that they dealt in March in the C.J. Gardner trade. So they got that back with the Mechie trade. So they got that 5th rounder back. That's all Nick Caserio playing chess, man. Let him cook. Let him cook. I don't know, man. Nick Caserio, man, is I've been screaming his praise. I believe in Nick Caserio. Nick Caserio, I trust. Just let the man cook. He's everybody. Let's be fair. We all thought that Nick Caserio was gonna come in here and form a Patriots identity and it's more of the Patriots. Nah, man. The guys came in and Houston genuinely has its own identity now. It's our identity. We don't play like anybody else. We don't. Our culture has changed. We're more lenient and more understanding and giving guys grace and trying to let them play the system out. Like with Jimmy Ward. Jimmy would have been gone had Bob McNair and Bill O'Brien been here or whoever. God rest in peace, Bob McNair. All respects. You know what I mean? But this new regime of owners with Cal and Hannah, by his side, these guys are letting the system play out now. When back then, you off the team. You couldn't even sneeze wrong. You couldn't even say something wrong. You couldn't say the wrong things or you were gone. I don't know, man. I call him calculated Caserio, and D'Amico is the coach, is the player's coach for real. They can relate to a winner. These players are coming here, rookie or not. The message being sent with Ariante being the starter now. And let's get back into him is that even if you're a rookie, you can come in here like Lassiter. He started all last year. Bullock started all last year. Throw these guys in the 5. You out there showing out, and they showing out. Bullock's been showing out. He slept on, one of the most underrated safeties in the league right now. Slept on. He gonna wake him up this year. But the message being sent that even if you're a rookie on this team, if you come in and you perform and you at any position, you can take that position. Veteran or not, that was in there in the flight. We trying to win, bro. And that's what it takes. That's what I love about this team. They're not hard. That's one thing I love about this team that they used to do in the back days is procrastinate on making decisions based on seniority and things of that nature. That's not the case now. If you come in and you do a better job than this guy, then you got to play. We're going to put you in there because we want to win. I mean, if I was anybody that was coming out of college and I want to play with a winner and I knew I was good and whatever, I would love to play for the Houston Texans especially if I know that I can attribute to them and can start right away because I just believe in myself. And there were guys that truly believe in themselves, man. I want to get back into Ursery though, man. This guy has been showing up in practice, man, and in games and whatnot. And but first, let me touch on the trade. I got a guy that you guys are gonna remember. Texans fans are gonna remember. Slight bit. You might not have watched him in college. But he had a moment in time the trade that we end up getting when it came to trading off Mechie. Sorry, we going back to Mechie, guys, but I gotta fill you in because I thought this is interesting, so I'm gonna share it with you guys. Harrison Bryant. He was a tight end, a top college tight end. He actually won the Mackey Award coming out of college. That's the award awarded to the nation's best tight ends coming out of college, the Mackey Awards. He was the top. He had 1,000+ yard coming out plus yards coming out of Florida Atlantic, and that was the biggest thing about him winning that Mackey Award because that he wasn't in those top 4 power conferences coming into college. But the thing is about him, he's been in the league now, and he hasn't done 1,000 yards in his. He's been here since 2020. He was drafted by the Browns, 4th round pick. But he's only had 877 yards and 10 TDs in the NFL, which is okay, I guess. But the guy was the top college tight end coming out of Florida Atlantic. Traded to us in the John Mechie trade. We received him, and we received our 5th round pick back that we gave up with Kenyon Green to get C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So guys, y'all remember this guy from this. Y'all gonna remember him from this play. If we're gonna be honest, y'all gonna remember him from this play right here, in the playoff game with Joe Flacco and whatnot. Y'all gonna remember him from here, guys. Let me put it up for you.
Flacco rips one wide open in stride. Bryant. Here he goes into midfield and deep in Houston territory, dragged down by.
Remember that? Y'all remember that?
Rips one wide open in stride. Bryant.
2 years ago.
Here he goes into midfield and deep in Houston territory, dragged down by.
Y'all remember that 2 years ago? I do. So, I mean, who knows? Is there even room for him to start on there with guys like Cade Stover with the blocking skills and Dalton Schultz with the experience and being a reliable guy, although he had a down year last year? Where do we got room for these guys? Who knows? But that is depth. It is depth. And we do have one of the best depth teams in the NFL right now, I honestly believe. We got depth. And that's one thing that Nick is playing chess with. These guys are going to get hurt. Somebody's going to be dealing with something. So we're going to have quality guys to step in and be able to fill that role and do a decent job to be able to fill that role without breaking down the team and everything's going to crap. So I don't know, man. Your boy Blastoff here, man. Ryl Texans Talk. Again, thank you guys for tapping in, man. I just love the team. I know you love the team. We not done here though, man. Let's get into. I've been saying this for a while, but I want to show you guys a couple of little tidbits about what Ursery and I want you guys to keep your eyes out tomorrow or today, whatever time this is, on the Detroit in the Texans preseason game. I don't know if Ursery would get a chance, but being that he's looking like he's going to be the starter. So if you see Cam Robinson out there, because Cam hadn't been getting any work because Cam Robinson, who we brought in, signed for a $14 million contract to take over the left tackle position. He's been injured and he hadn't had much time on the offensive line as far as preseason games and whatnot. But here we go. I want to get into some of this Ursery tape, man. Ursery tape. I got a couple of good clips here, man, with and I had some clips otherwise, but I want to share a couple of just shout out to on Twitter, man, the SMI football show. Former player that played the position in football that breaks down Ursery's tape. and he played the position and on offensive line, and he just breaks down the tape. And we're not gonna. It's very long because it's like 16 minutes. But I just want to go into some of these clips, man, with how this guy was breaking down Ursery's tape, so you guys can kind of get a feel on what we got here and what we dealing with here, man. Because the guy's dynamic, man. The guy's dynamic. So let's get into it, guys.
For the rookie, let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see center, right guard, right. All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we are talking Houston Texans rookie offensive tackle Arianti Ursery. Ursery had a really nice preseason debut for the Texans last week, but he stepped his game up to a whole nother level. He's more than just a pass protector, folks. He does really good things in the run game as well. And we'll break all that down, as always, in the comment section below. Give us any feedback, plus if there's any other players you want us to do a film review on. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, let's open up with some pass protection before we get to the run blocking. There is Ursery right there on the right side of your screen. So the right side of the Texans offensive line, they're all going to take the gap to their right. So the center is going to take this gap. Guard's going to take this gap, and the right tackle is going to take this gap. Now on the left side, on the back side of this protection, we're going to get man-on-man. So left guard man-on-man there, and Ursery man-on-the-man right there with the defensive end. Ursery, again, great pass protector. He does a phenomenal job holding this block for almost 10 seconds. Great work for the rookie. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see center, right guard, right tackle working the gap to the right. Let's watch Ursery here the entire play. Calm, good protection, good anchor inside, stays outside, stays working, scramble drill, stays with him. Another shove. Great protection. I mean, look how long this play lasted, guys. Let's count down the seconds. I mean, this is pretty awesome here up front. We're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 9 seconds of pass protection. Texans fans, you would have killed to have 9 seconds of good pass protection. And I know it's preseason and all of that. And look, it's the Carolina Panthers, far from an elite team, at least the way they played last year. But still, to have guys up front for your offensive line to give you 9 seconds of pass pro, certainly a rookie, Arianti Ursery, contributing to that in a big way. That is a great sign for the future of this offense and a very welcome sign for C.J. Stroud as he looks to bounce back from last season. All right, from the wide copy, again, you get a great look at Ursery right here. Good calm kick slide, methodical. Again, not a great punch, but he locks his hands in there. He's got a great grip. He reminds me of the former Dallas Cowboys great Tyron Smith, where Smith wasn't known for his great punch, but he'd get his hands on you and you were just done. He'd just lock it down and then it was just over. And I love the effort. I love staying with it, the scramble drill the entire way. Again, look how much time C.J. Stroud has in the pocket. I mean, this is just great protection across the board. I mean, no one's even near him all day. Even Fisher with a little help does a decent job. Ursery stays on his guy the entire time, keeps him near the line of scrimmage. Great rep from 79. All right, let's go to some running game now. There's Ursery right there at left tackle, the left side of your screen. So this is going to be design cutback. So what the Texans are going to do, we're going to get a base block here. Base block here, we're going to get a double team right here, trying to get a dislocation. And we're going to get a double team right here with the left tackle and the tight end here, trying to get some dislocation, pinning him inside. 87 is going to go in motion pre-snap, then he's going to come around and cut and block the end man on a line of scrimmage here. And it's going to be a design cutback, 27 working this way, and then cutting back just like that. I want you guys to watch this double team between Schultz and Ursery. Now, Schultz, not a great run blocker. He does a decent effort here, right? I don't want to be too critical of him, but this is 99.9% Arianti Ursery getting movement and getting a lot of movement, opening up the space here for this running back for a really nice run. Let's check it out. There's the motion, 87. All right, there's a snap. We can see right there, right guard, right tackle, basing, double team between the left guard and the center. There's a double team right there. Tight end in motion right there. He kicks out the end man line of scrimmage with a nice cut block there. We've got the outside. 27 bounces it. Really nice run for the Houston Texans. But this play only happens right here because this linebacker gets caught in the trash. And why does this linebacker get caught in the trash? Because Arianti Ursery gets so much movement at the point of attack here on this double team. Watch what he does with this defensive lineman. He engages and washes him down like 3 or 4 yards. It forces this defensive end to squeeze tighter, right? Because this defensive end right here, he's trying to play off of 86's hip. Because 86 is trying to help block on this defensive tackle. When this defensive tackle gets blown down inside by Ursery, the defensive end follows, he gets cut, and now the linebacker gets caught in the trash. This is what movement gets you in the running game, guys. This is why coaches and announcers always talk about movement. When you get movement at the point of attack, it puts linebackers in bad positions. It pulls defensive ends in awkward spots and allows blocks and huge holes to open up just like this. And it all comes down to Arianti Ursery right here. We know he's a good pass protector. We talked about it last week, and we've already seen an example of it today, but he's getting a lot better in the run game.
And it goes on, man. That's only a quarter of the video. I just wanted to, put some stuff out there for, those that, don't know what young man, how good the young man is doing and how well the young man is doing. I want to put that out there. And again, I want to give a shout out to the SMI football show on Twitter, on X, at SMI football show on Twitter, on X. That guy put out some good tape, man, breakdowns and whatnot. Go follow him. But again, man, that guy's special. And none other than better than praises from your QB telling everybody, how the guy is just dedicated to, how dedicated the guy is to just being great. CJ spoke recently about, a message he received from Ursery after he congratulated Ursery on being a Houston Texan. We'll get to that. Let's hit this little clip right quick.
Hey, I think Tay has one of the best mindsets I've seen from a rookie, in my couple years in the league. He texted me the night he got drafted, and I texted him. I was like, hey, bro, excited to have you on the team. And he was like, I'm going to die on the whole line for you, bro. I'm going to die out there. I'm like, all right, bro, appreciate that, man. I respect that, bro. I appreciate you saying that. So that's just his mindset. He wants to, be great. He asks the questions, going against Will and Daniil every day makes him really good. And I think, when he faces other guys, he's like, man, it's kind of easy, but he still keeps up that same tenacity and that same work ethic. So very mature guy, loves football, loves his teammates, and I think he's going to be great in this league.
Hey, CJ said it all, said a mouthful. And this guy, he's hungry, man. He wants to be great. And that's what when they swooped in. They may have, who knows, when they got him, they may have high-fived him just like we got the guy that we wanted. Because, man, judgment of character and tape and film and all of that, it tells you what you need to know. It tells you what you need to know. Getting them in there for the interviews and listening to them and watching the tape. Because if I'm not mistaken, I had quoted his stats. I had it jotted down, but I had quoted that guy's stats from his college, his out of all his snaps from college, man. And I had him over, I think I had him over 300 snaps or something. Let me see here. See if I can find his snap count. That guy went crazy. But the guy just was dynamic in college, point blank period. The guy was this dynamic in college, and he ended up being it translate. His is translating into the NFL. Let's just leave that like that. What that is. His tape is translating into the NFL. I don't know. I got the notes on me right now. I don't see them. I had the notes on me, but the guy played a buku amount of snaps in college and gave up single-digit sacks. It maybe 2 or 3 sacks his whole college career. But anyway, man, just sitting here thinking about it. If we all can be honest with ourselves, we haven't seen a team this complete before. And it still got questions on the offensive line. We still got questions in the linebacking core with Christian Harris being, held under wraps, and he's back now, supposedly. He may play in the preseason game. They had practice out there against Detroit. And the reports that have been coming out of Detroit is that, Stingley was locking down, their wide receivers, and that, Titus Howell was handling Aiden Hutchinson, and, man, but it was some back and forth, if we were to believe what to be told. It was some back and forth. But again, I don't know how we could not be excited about what's going on with the Houston Texans. We entered unprecedented territory. Even the Lions head coach Dan Campbell had to say, hey, man, these guys are going to be a juggernaut for a long time. He also said some weird things. I don't know what he was talking about because they practiced recently. Texans had a practice, for the last day, their last joint practice before they play the Lions in the preseason. But Dan Campbell was excited about playing the Houston Texans, and because look, you got to think about it. These guys are pretty much, considered respectable competition against each other. It'd be like the Chiefs playing the Bills in joint practices, or the Chiefs playing the Ravens in joint practices, or however that goes. But at the end of the day, we were able to go out there and have a showing, and it gave them a respectable showing. The competition, iron is sharper than iron out there. Here he is saying that, I got a clip of him saying that following that practice, what he thought. Let's get to it, guys. Let me put that clip up for you.
Listen, it's one of the reasons why I'm fired up to practice against them, because I think these guys are, they're on the way up. They've been on the way up. And just the nature of the way they go about their business, the way they practice. I talk about, Coach Ryan's over there. I just got a lot of respect for him. And when you do things the way they do them, and the way that Sundays, they go out, they run, they hit, they finish, you're going to be in every game. You're going to have a chance in every game. And they're a young, talented roster. They're guys that love ball. Those guys over there, Brad and I like a lot of those guys too now, and it's like, oh, okay, I can see that. So we're excited to see them today. But, it's a promising young roster that does it right, good coaching, and quarterbacks, good player, and he's only going to get better and better. They got weapons. So, they're going to be I think they're going to be a juggernaut for years to come, is what I think.
Hey, you heard him, huh? He said we're going to be a juggernaut for years to come. That's his personal opinion. I don't think he was just doing, chivalry talk. I don't think he was just talking. I think that he honestly believes that. Because I believe that. I believe that, the Texans are going to be a juggernaut for years to come. And that's what we're building here with this foundation of talent that we have, with the foundation of the youth that we have and these rookie contracts. And that CJ and Will are looking for a big payday next year. And you got to pay both of those unprecedented amounts of money, both of them. And Will is making it hard to, and it's a good problem to have. He's making it hard. You're going to have to pay him record-breaking defensive end money, CJ, record-breaking QB money. Let them both perform, man. It's rare to hit on two picks back-to-back like that, and the Texans seemingly have done it. But I don't know, guys. The Texas team identity is starting to take shape. Smash mouth, dedicated, hard team, brotherhood football. I can't express how overjoyed and excited I am to see this season. It's actually an easier season to me, if you ask me, than what we've experienced in the previous. If you think about it, we had 3 brutal games: Miami, Baltimore Chiefs, or Miami Chiefs, Baltimore, whatever. Whatever that was a brutal. And then they were like within 11, 12 days between each other. So that was a crazy type of setup. To where that was just brutal on any team. to go against that gauntlet of teams at that amount at that time. This year we playing the Cardinals the back end of December, and the Raiders and the Bills November 20th, the Jags November the 9th, San Fran October the 26th, the Denver Broncos back up in the beginning of November, the Titans at the end of September, and of course these are home games. We're kicking it with the Bucks. September the 15th. So I don't know, man. It's we should win those games. We should win those games. We should home games. We should win them all, man. We should win all those home games. The Bills coming in here, we get a second chance, and they gonna be coming for blood because they lost that game against us last year. They gonna be coming for blood, man. But I want to get to one more thing, guys. One more other thing that Dan Campbell said first, because he made a little comment that had the internet, like Houston Texans fans, like, what are you talking about? He spoke on C.J. Stroud, and the term he used was head scratching. The term he used is head scratching.
I'm really fired up that we're going to get Houston to come in here. It's only for one practice, but I mean, those guys are, what D'Amico's done out there has been really impressive. And I know this defense is, they're the real deal. The way they play, the way they practice, go about their business. They got weaponry on offense. Quarterback's a good little player. You can go across the board. My point, I can't wait. That's perfect. So that keeps me from jumping too far ahead. So we've got this little batch left. I can't wait to get Houston here because it'll be great for us. We need the work, and it'll make us better. I just know it will.
Man, good little quarterback? What is that? What you mean, good little quarterback? These big dog status out here, man. Good little quarterback. Hey, man, you know what? I don't know. Dan Campbell, different breed, man. He was a big boy back when he played. I think he was a receiver and back in the days for the Lions. So, he feel like he's a good little quarterback. I guess, man. We're gonna leave that alone. I got one more thing though that I want to address, guys, and I got to address this. So training camp came. Panthers versus Texans, right? Training camp came. Panthers versus Texans. Okay, we all know that. We all know that the Panthers and the Texans had a training camp, and it went down. It was good showing of the Texans, skill sets, and the Panthers made some plays. I just believe the Texans made more. But I got a mystery. Some of y'all gonna have to help me solve. Man, how many of y'all are familiar with the Panthers beat writer, sports media personality for the Panthers, Miss Sheena Quick, out there for the the Panthers, man. Love the lady. Respect what she does, man. Beautiful lady, very professional, classy, and she just has a beat for her team. She's Panthers insider, Sheena Quick. Man, let me tell you guys something. I tweeted out that, I didn't care what was going on out there at the practice, to be honest with you. I honestly didn't care what was going on out there at the practice with the players. All I wanted to see was if I could see the one fantastic one and only Miss Sheena Quick, man. Y'all see, this is a dynamic lady, man. And I tweeted this out at practice here. I was at the training camp, and I ended up tweeting this out, guys. I'm gonna share this with you. Share my little thread with you guys. I tweeted out. I say, I'm only here. I don't care about it now, of course. I just want to know if Miss Sheena Marie, that's her Twitter, guys, is out here somewhere. Let me pull it up. I want to know if Miss Sheena Marie is out here somewhere. That was my tweet. And man, to my surprise, you know, she saw the tweet and she responded, man, and she you know, I was like, okay, cool. She responded and said, you know, hey, message me after practice. So y'all know I was like, oh yeah. Man, just a beautiful lady, man. And I want y'all to see what I'm talking about here, fellas. Y'all let me know, you know, was I tripping? I just wanted a photo. I didn't get the photo, but you know what? I end up watching. I ended up staying after practice and was getting photos with Aziz and Henry Tour and Juice, and man, it was nice, man. But I didn't get a chance to get with Miss Sheena, man. But I seen her across that field. I was yelling, "Hey, Sheena, come get my photo. I want the photo." But I understand she was on the other side of the field. It was hot. I seen her. I seen her with an interview afterwards, and she, man, I know like she more or less was like, "Hey, look, it's too hot," and I get it. You know, Houston is a high place, but man, y'all got to feel your boy, man. Y'all got to feel your boy. Look at this here, man. Look at this, man. Look, y'all got to feel your boy, man. You got to feel your boy, you know. Miss Sheena Marie, man. That's Sheena Quick. And I figured out something, you know what I'm saying? When I was I figured out something when I was Lord Jesus. Can y'all feel me? Lord Jesus. Lord. Look, I'm just saying, I would have loved to get that picture, Miss Marie, Miss Quick. When next time, hey, when this thing blow up, and I just want my picture, Miss Marie. I just want my picture because I'm just saying, though, this is dynamic. But on a professional level, I understand too. Let me tell y'all something, man. I looked her up and I follow her on Twitter and whatever, but I didn't realize, man, we got the same birthday. Look at that. We got the same birthday, guys. September the 20th is her birthday. September the 21st is mine. So I think that's what that was about. Yeah, man, but either way, guys, y'all shout out. Go follow her, man. Great beat writer for the Texans. Excuse me. Oh, she ain't gonna like that. Got me choked up. Great beat writer for the Carolina Panthers and whatnot. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the show for the day, man. It's late. I tapped in late with you guys just to get this content pushed out. And we ain't gonna slow this down. We're gonna keep it rolling. Ryl Texans Talk, man. Texans, Detroit, tomorrow, noon. Saturday. I want you guys to, like, subscribe. Oh, man, how could I forget? How could I forget? Yeah, you guys like and subscribe. But how could I forget? The biggest news of all. Because, man, I couldn't wait to share this news. I have to, have a connection that I want to instill with my with the followers and the people that want to talk, man, with the fan base of the Texans. So what I implemented, and I said I was going to implement this, is ta-da. When y'all see that, when y'all see that coming up, the next show, when we're going to go live tomorrow night, man, after the Panthers game, man, we're going to go live at 5 p.m. We're going to go live at 5 p.m. after the Panthers game tomorrow and just talk about what's going on. When you see that sign come up, man, just call in, bro, and chop it up with your boy. We're going to be live. It's going down, man. Finally, glad to implement this thing in. 281-749-1700. When I say y'all call in, man. Chop it up, man. This is what we do here. This is what this about. And just excited, man, to see where this team is going. It's been doing wonders, man. I love the team. I know we all love the team. And again, we're gonna have guests, some great guests included, man, on the show coming up here soon. And you know what? Hey, we can't ask for nothing better. We can't ask for nothing better. But we thank you guys. I thank you guys for tapping in, man, and tuning in and sticking around with your boy, Darryl Blastoff, man. This is the Ryl Texans Talk. This team is a juggernaut, according to respected NFL personnel. We on our way up, man. And tomorrow's the final preseason game. Let's get it rolling. Let's get it rolling. Let's get this out the way. The team is gonna look a lot different after this week. Is over with. I would say sometime next week, by Thursday, we'll know what's what on this squad. So, hey, man, again, man, you guys have been, tapped in with your boy Darryl Blastoff, and this is the Ryl Texans Talk. Y'all tap in with me, man, tomorrow 5, p.m. For those that can catch me. We're gonna talk about the team, who makes the team after tomorrow's final preseason game, who gets cut, and we'll have pretty much a better notion of what's going on, with your Houston Texans, following tomorrow's game. But that's it, man. Tonight, man, you guys have a blessed one. It's your boy Darryl Blastoff. I'm signing out, man. Ryl Texans Talk. Y'all be blessed.